Good morning, love. Let's do coffee and talk about codependency and sexuality. Someone asked me to do this video, and I was pretty shocked by it because I didn't actually realize how close to the situation I was until I said, like, wow, that is also sexuality. Issues with sexuality aren't just necessarily this epigenetic bloodline thing, which I deeply believe most of my following has also. I believe that you come from a lineage of, I don't think you'd be attracted to me if you didn't come here to heal your lineage of the many patterns of like totally like just not okay. You finally have come and you're like, this is not okay, I'm going to stop this, and you don't really know how. I think codependency lives in our bloodline. I think it's possible that some of us were actually, we are taught codependency at a young age when we are really empathic, and then we really just learn to empath with either the codependent or the narcissist parent in the situation. And you know what? I don't even think that it's necessarily that it has to be, and this might be a new thought, I'm not sure, I've never thought of this or heard anybody say it, but I don't think that it has to be a triangle of, okay, here's a codependent parent, here's a narcissist parent. I think it's very possible also that you can be so empathic with a codependent person who is also codependent on maybe their mother or father, who is actually the narcissist. So you are taught these patterns not because of necessarily even direct contact constantly, although it's very likely that you're going to see the person who is codependent with a narcissist displaying kind of those tendencies of like hidden anger and whatnot, because they don't have any other outlet except you, who's the empath, who will diffuse the situation. So looking at it in that context, I never looked at codependency and sexuality as going hand in hand, as far as basically our healing. So when we're raised in codependent situations, no matter what that dynamic is, we are cutting off all of our lower chakras. We are not allowed to have wants. We are not allowed to have needs. We are not allowed to have a say. Like, we don't have a will. I shouldn't say a say, but like really we're not allowed to want what we want. So, and it's made known that if we get what we desire, that we should feel guilty for it, or that we are actually, somehow we're not deserving of the thing that we've received. So, when we are raised in that way, that shameful guilt way, even if it's not about sexuality, which I believe probably it definitely is, because most of our lineage, if we're coming from real narcissistic people, and dude, I hate the label, but just it's layman's terms, so let's use it. They have no boundaries with the taboo of incest. So we have that going on in our bloodline. Like, we have actual sexual trauma going on in our bloodline that can be and has to be removed cellularly through us, by us. But the codependent aspect of that is that if you are raised and even if you're not shamed about sexuality, but it's still in your bloodline somehow, there's like shame and guilt around sexuality, but you're still raised on shame, it's still going to cut off the place of your sexuality. And then when we grow up, we're going to grow up into basically being heart-centered and up beings. We can't even feel our lower bodies. And when we start to come alive with sexual desire, we will go, oh, I'm not allowed to feel that, or I shouldn't want that, or I'm not allowed to ask for that specifically. And what's going to happen is we're going to end up moving that energy to our heart space, feeling a little bit heartbroken because we know that we're too afraid to ask for it, and then we're going to try to ask for it but can't, and instead we're going to be a bitch, and then we're going to be resentful later because we think our partners are supposed to know. And my love, those days are over. We don't have to do that to ourselves, because that is literally self-torture. We can stop doing that right now. I'm going to help you how. I'm going to help you learn how if you are somebody who's in that category, because, guys, it sucks. Our healing, our sexual healing is actually really, really important, so we can own our power. And it's not our sexual power. It's our innate warrior, animalistic, like, I know that I am a creator of my own space, and I know that I know how to handle it. That's so important, guys. That's what we're all here for. It's what we want, to come into the space that we embodied into and to play and create with it. And sexual healing is a really important part of that. So here's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to First and foremost, if you know that you're not going to be able to ask for it, start by experiencing yourself in your sensual body. Buy yourself flowers, use essential oils, really get into the experience of like self-touch or massage. Experience yourself in a sensual way so you can recognize that sensuality herself wants to be known through you. She is your friend, okay? So you will be much nicer to her if you think she has a need than if you think you have a need. So here's the thing, sensuality is your friend, and she wants to know herself through you. She's come to know herself through you, and when you let her experience herself through you, you're gonna understand why you guys are friends, okay? So start there. It doesn't have to be like, okay, I have to ask my partner to like meet my needs right now. Like, no, dude, build up to that space where that becomes natural and an organic part of the process. So first and foremost, explore your sensuality on your own. You're totally in charge of it. And I'm not going to say too much about this, but a yoni egg practice, and I think you have to be ready for it. I wouldn't have been ready had I taken the whole journey into the yoni egg world had I taken it a day sooner. So I think you really do have to get to a mental understanding and a heartfelt understanding before you can really tap into the cellular understanding of releasing all of these things in us. All of these past stories that are triggering our DNA on or off, or our genes on or off. When you do the yoni egg practice, it will absolutely totally change your whole life. So just look it up. You'll love it. Lastly, I'm not going to be gender specific here, but guys, if you are in a relationship with somebody who you don't feel safe with, who you're like, there's one thing to be like, okay, I know I'm safe enough to ask for what I need, but I still can't bring myself to do it, right? There's that vibration. I know that this person loves me and I can ask for what I need, but I'm the one who physically can't, so then you get mad at yourself and it's all weird. Or there's the like, even if I ask this person for what I needed, they're not going to give it to me anyway, or they're going to be a douche. If this is your person, stop fucking hanging out with them. Stop being with them. Stop wasting your time with them. The only way to heal this in yourself is if you are in a safe place, if you feel completely safe the way that you should have felt when you were an infant. So that's foundational. You're not going to change the situation if you still feel unsafe with your partner. And I mean emotionally unsafe. I don't mean even necessarily physically unsafe. I just mean emotionally unsafe. So if you think it's going to be volatile and you think like they're just going to blow you off or not listen to you anyway and you're going to feel rejection again, either you got to work your way around that right now and deal with that person, or you need to leave that person because they're not going to assist you on your journey, and you're here for much, much, much bigger things than wasting your time in situations like that. So explore your sensuality and definitely ensure your safety. You are in charge of that. You are deserving of that. And it's your mandate to put yourself in a place that you are safe so you can heal. Okay? And look up the yoni egg practices. But really, and also if you need to do the mental work, obviously get a really good therapist. But I think there's a lot of us out there that are codependent and going like, I'm so codependent, I'm not allowed to ask for what I want. I'm not allowed to have a need because we're so still afraid, and we carry that little girl, that little boy mind into our adulthood with us, and we can dismantle its reign. I promise we can dismantle its reign. So, while also honoring it. So, I love you. I hope that you enjoy your healing, sexual healing. God, that used to be such a trigger for me. If I even like mentioned sexuality, I would be like, oh my God. I'm so glad I did the work. All right, bye.